All right, good evening and welcome back to Princess Seed channel. I just need to drop this before we go to bed tonight. Today is still the 21st of September 2025. I have a bit of cracked voice after all that was done today. All right, but I hope you could hear me clearly. I just need to clarify some troubling questions that have actually been dropped over time and submissions which I believe might apply to one or two among us. So I hope you could have versed everything possible from this. The first one is coming from Mr. Agbenigodi or Agbeningodi. Pardon me for this. Alright, and this is what it says. It's quite unfortunate that Nigeria have no government. If this money belonged to the senators, do you think it will come to this far? I'm ashamed for all this Igbo grant. How many Yorubas and Hausas voice note did you hear in the grant community? Okay, that's the first one. Then this one is coming from King Chong. Say, thank you, my brother. The number of bishops and pastors in Grant community are enough to chase away one devil, if not greed. And the last one is coming from Glory. My friend Glory underscore suit. Say, thank God for Mr. Ademola who knew Christ before this Janglova experience. Now, Princess, what about those who never knew Christ? And all this disappointment flooding in, and the people who were supposed to be straightforward and be kind in their words, but their words have no solace. It gives but rather fear, tension, anxiety, confusion, and chaos. Have you listened to one of the voice notes of Theobald before? How he rains down insults upon insults. And the very first day I had him, I knew in my spirit that this man is the man of God. You talk too much, and your words, they are filled with all manner of insults. Even some of the so-called Christians will come to rain insults upon people because of how they relate to you. Listen, a true believer will never come out to pour insults like that, and then tomorrow you come out again to say you're a child or daughter of God. All right, so those are the submissions which I would like to really treat tonight. The first one is from Agben Ngodi, who says it's quite unfortunate Nigeria have no government, and if this money belonged to the senators, do you think it will come to this far? I'm ashamed for all this Igbo grant. How many Yorubas and Hausas voice note did you hear in the grant community? So I want to really appreciate you very well, all of you who have really put forth this submission and comment. And they are not questions, actually they are submissions that are quite important towards our expectation. And Mr. Agbenigodi submission focuses on Nigeria's dysfunctional system and the ethnic undertone in this grand discussion. The writer actually laments that Nigeria has no real government, which is true. And he also argues that if the money belonged to senators, it would have been handled very differently. And he further expressed shame that the grand discourse seems dominated by Igbo voices, with fewer voices from Yoruba and the Hausa participants. Yes, if I must be pragmatic with you, the reality is that Nigeria has long struggled with weak governance structures. Yes, we have lack of accountability, and we also have poor prioritization of the people's needs. And if the funds indeed belong to a senator or some top politicians, yes, it would not have lingered this long. It would not have lingered this long because the system seems to prioritize the elite over the masses. Now, this is a sad, very sad, but honest reflection of the systemic corruption and the inequalities we have in this system. However, Mr. Godi, bringing ethnicity into the matter can be counterproductive. Yes, it is true that some ethnic groups may appear more vocal, but trying to frame the issue as Igbo grants versus Yoruba or Hausa, there's a way it's silence, it only deepens some divisions. Yeah, the core issue is not whether more Igbos, Yorubas, or Hausas are speaking. To me, the issue is that Nigerians collectively are being failed by poor leadership and manipulation. So focusing on ethnicity is going to shift attention away from the main problem, which is what? Accountability. Nigeria's strength actually lies in unity and not division, whether it's Igbo, Yoruba, or Hausa. The truth is that everyone suffers under bad governance, and the grand community should resist being divided along ethnic lines, because that only benefits corrupt leaders who thrive on division. So participants should rather emphasize the common goals, which is the transparency and fulfillment of these long-awaited promises. Unity across ethnic lines is the only way to actually demand accountability effectively. Division will weaken the people's collective voice, but unity will strengthen it. So I think that's what I need to talk about on that matter precisely. Then for the second comment by Kim Chong, I think it's Kim Chong also, the key issues that was raised there has to do with the bishop, that the presence of many bishops and pastors within the grand community, and the writer was arguing that their spiritual presence should be enough to drive away any devil, unless the real problem is greed. So the key issues there is the abundance of religious leaders in this community, and there is a question of why, despite their presence, challenges still persist, and the implication is greed. But in a pragmatic, if I'm to respond to you, pragmatically speaking, the truth is that the presence of many bishops or pastors or religious leaders does not automatically translate to righteousness or success in a venture. That's what I want to know. Titles do not guarantee integrity. Just as we have numbers that do not ensure unity, what matters most is not the number of religious figures in a community like this, but their actual willingness to uphold the truth and transparency with all humility. If greed, selfishness, and power struggles kind of dominate this ecosystem, then even the presence of 1,000 pastors, they will not drive away the spirit of corruption, no matter how much they try. If you read Matthew chapter 7 verse 16, it said, "By their fruits you shall know them." So the evidence of godly leadership is not in religious titles for you to know, Mr. Godi. It is in honesty, it's in accountability, and it's in the love for the people. So the real problem here is not the absence of spiritual figures, but the presence of greed. So if those who should be guiding the community, if they allow selfish ambition to overrule their integrities, then should expect that confusion definitely is going to thrive. And what is needed is not more bishops or more pastors, but I think more sincerity, more fairness, and more discipline. That's what is needed. The Grant community, or any community for that matter, must look beyond titles. They have to focus on character. They have to focus on character. So the way forward is to ensure that leaders and participants alike put aside this thing called greed, and they should try as much as possible to embrace collective progress. Where greed is absent, then you will definitely see that unity is going to prevail there. But where greed dominates, no number of pastors can help out. It's not possible. It's not possible. All right, I think that settles that. And the last one there, which I will talk about, is from Glory_suit. And the point raised there is a little bit lengthy, but I'm trying to, I want to see how I can summarize everything. The key issues from her submission has to do with hypocrisy of the so-called Christian leaders who rain insults in the ecosystem, the confusion and discouragement that caused to unbelievers when they hear such harsh words, the contradiction between claiming to be a child of God and using words that sow fear and also chaos, and the concern about how genuine believers should behave differently. I think the truth is this: see, a believer in Christ must not mix the gospel with insults. They mustn't mix the gospel with intimidation or any kind of abusive languages. Christianity is not measured by loudness of words. No, it's not measured by spiritual titles either or claims, but by fruits, by love, by patience, by kindness, by humility, and also self-control. You will find that really precise in Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 to 23. So anyone whose words consistently breed fear, anyone whose words bring chaos and insult without edification, is not actually manifesting the Spirit of Christ. Actually, this submission from Glory came forth when which issue did we treat then? Yes, I think it was Ademola then that says, thank God he was a Christian before coming to Grant Community. Beg your pardon. And he was a Christian before coming to Grant Community. Else, maybe the Grant Community would have unchristianized him, or he would have been an atheist, because of the number of pastors here. And yet, yet, you still have a lot of dishonesty, a lot of manipulation, lies, and what have you. So it was in that response that, in that light, that we also got this coming from Glory, that what if that person is not a believer at all? Sibi Ademola was a believer before he entered, was a Christian. What if that person was not even a Christian before entering the Grant Community? So, for those who do not yet know Christ, just like she's saying, I think the damage is so severe when they encounter Christians, supposed Christians who lack love, and instead of being drawn to God, they are repelled from God. This is why believers must guard your tongue and ensure that your words are seasoned with grace. Now, you might say all of these things I'm saying now does not pertain to you, but I tell you the truth, there are people in the Grand ecosystem that this word pertain to. Whatever I'm saying here applies to everybody. Whether you are Christian, whether you are Muslim, it applies to us. Forget about that we are here expecting money. We shouldn't lose our control. We shouldn't lose our sanity. We shouldn't lose our ethics, our moral ethics as Christians. We shouldn't lose that just because we are running after money. That's bad. It's part of what we are saying now. We should change. That raiment is too old. It's not enough to identify as a Christian. One must demonstrate that Christ-like character, both in speech and in conduct. Because a true child of God will speak the truth in love. He will also rebuke the people with gentleness, and then he will edify the masses with wisdom. If anyone consistently pours insult, whether on this platform or any other platform, even under the guise of defending the faith, such a person is misrepresenting Christ. And Christians must remember that they are ambassadors of Christ. Ambassadors do not insult, they represent with dignity. So, finally, the call here is very simple. As we expect a grand disbursement, let all the believers, all Christians, pastors, clerics, imam, and everyone, let everyone check their speeches, especially those in the position of influence, because harsh words may drive unbelievers further away from salvation. But you see, kind words, even in correction, can heal. It can also restore, and it can draw them closer to Christ. I rest my case. This is Prince Isid. I hope you're able to manage my voice like this. I just have a very cracked voice, but I hope you were able to hear me and get all that we're supposed to get from him. Definitely by tomorrow, I should have been clear. I just need some rest and I should be clear. Okay, so thank you very much for staying with us to the end, and we just need to drop this before we go to bed and adjust our concept, adjust our behaviors, adjust our expectation timeline, and definitely everything is going to work out right. So in case you're new, do subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on vital updates. When we drop one, you have one. Do have a blissful night rest. Good night.